Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
Here is Masters of the Universe Fields of Eternia. This is the stretch gold box that you're going to get. Very cool box. It's actually not He-Man. This is one of his ancestors. We'll get into that. You see some of the characters we'll get into. It's a very striking box, if you ask me. A little bit of a cover here you'll put in. So I'm just going to kind of show. There's no rule book or anything that comes in. You're going to get 4 ally cards. You're going to get, let's do this in this order. You're going to get 2 of the Masters of the Universe faction. Andra, she's pretty cool because at the beginning of each combat, she gives you 1 to each thing. You're going to get Eldor. He allows you to hold an additional spell. He's pretty neat. And you're going to get 2 that can work with any of the factions, except for the Hordak. They don't work with the Hordak. They do with the Snakes, Skeletor, and... nope, they do work with it. So the other ones, not the... they work with the Hordaks, but not the He-Man people. You're going to have Stinkor and Modilok. So Stinkor is going to give you a sex, going to give you the green token. And Modilok, and this one's particularly interesting because it can cost you 2 or 4. And you put the Eternium on it to signify, and you're going to get different bonuses based on how much money you spend. Those are the 4 allies you're going to get. It's kind of weird that 4 of these were included, but that's what you got. So let's take a look at the... What we'll do is, I suppose, is we'll look at each of these, and then I'll show you the miniature for what factions you're going to have. Now, you're going to have one for the Hordak faction. That's going to be Mantena. You can see here, he's pretty good. He allows you to draw encounter cards, and you can discard 1 and keep 1. And he is going to be right here. Now, mine are all painted. Yours will not come painted. You can choose to paint yours if you like, and maybe comment on. You can see an extra set of legs down here. It's kind of a cool little miniature that he's going to have. And that's going to be the only Hordak. You will get 1 from the Snakes. That's Tongue Lasher. And he's going to be pretty cool because once during epic combat, you can roll the die and maybe some things will happen. So that's a pretty cool little one that you're going to have for Tongue Lasher. And he is going to be here. And he's a really cool looking miniature. See how his tongue is coming out there? That's a pretty cool little one that you're going to have there. And you can add him into the game quite easily. You're going to get 2 Skeletors. You're going to get Scare Glow. And he's pretty neat because your person's going to have a base score of 0 on their initiative. They can add to it, but they'll start with 0 because I guess you can't sneak up on Scare Glow, I suppose. And this will be him and all his goodness. You can see the little weapon coming through here and his cape on his back. So pretty cool little miniature there. And he has a big old spot that he will go in here just like that. The next one we're going to get for Skeletor is going to be Whiplash. Now, he's pretty powerful. So when he loses exactly 1 health, it's actually 0. You can kind of take it in a little bit. It's a very neat little addition there. And then you're going to get Whiplash, which will be throwing his little spear there. You can see his tail coming through here. Very cool little miniature of Whiplash. And the last Skeletor guy, you're going to get Faker, which is pretty cool. So he's going to be able to move through the Masters of the Universe type people. Their places without having to fight their little soldiers and stuff. So, and then he can also attract the allies of the Masters of the Universe, even though he's a bad guy. So that's pretty cool because he can trick them into doing that. And then you're going to get Faker here, which is, pretty much a blue He-Man, if you will, with Skeletor's colors attached to him. So pretty good little miniature that you're going to have there. Then we're going to get into the He-Man. So the rest of these are all going to be He-Man type people. The Masters of the Universe crew. So you get Queen Grayskull. Now she can move more, but she does. She takes a little bit of a negative when she moves. And she can fly. That can be very helpful when the game is starting out. And she is signified here with her giant, beautiful wings, as you can see. A very cool little miniature for her. And then her companion piece, King Grayskull, that you can see here. He kind of looks like a He-Man because I think he is a He-Man of a different generation. And he's going to start out with either Executor's Initiative or Mind ability. He can also tame animals and allies pretty easily. And you're going to get him, which is a very cool, very nice looking, almost like Conan-ish, He-Man looking miniature here. Very, very nice. We're going to get Manny Faces, which is one of my favorite toys when I was a kid. You can always change his face into a robot, a monster, or a human, which is part of his character in the Filmation series. But you can do that in this. When you do, his stats kind of change a little bit, so that's pretty cool. And you can look at him here, and you could paint him up to be any of the monster, the robot, or his regular face of what you want to do. Pretty cool. I mentioned one of my favorite toys when I was a kid. We're also going to get Hero, which is another Master of the Universe. And he actually hold an extra spell card. He's got some stats up here and stuff. But he's a pretty cool looking one. And I believe this is Hero. Almost looks like a cleric to me, like a really strong cleric. I don't know. Very, very cool looking one with a little bit different armor than what you're used to seeing. And this is actually one of my favorite toys too. I had Mechanic as a kid. I really liked him as his neck would grow up and he could see. So whenever another friendly hero draws a card from the encounter scenario deck, you can discard it because look, he can see what's coming ahead, right? You see how that works? And you can discard it and draw another one. So Mechanic is really cool. I do wish they would have made his neck long. I know that might be weird with the miniature, but it usually sprouts out. It does not here. That's my only real complaint about him, of knowing him and being one of my favorite characters. Then we're going to get Clamp Champ. He is a powerhouse, and I like his little claw thing here. If you roll double success, if you do not roll double success during a Wilds combat, you can change 2 of your single ones to doubles. So he can up the ante if you do not do so. And let's see where he is at. Oh, here he is down here. And I do love his miniature because you kind of get the claws here. I think these are really, really cool. And if you're going to do Wilds combat, he is the guy to use because those successes can become doubles. Now, this guy was always a little annoying to me. I liked his toy when I was a kid, but he always kind of talked like that. I think they were bad guys at first and became good guys. But he can lose health to move a little bit extra and have his flying ability, but he can also heal you or an adjacent ally, which can be pretty useful. And he does have like a really kind of flamboyant, really cool looking miniature here. His wings are kind of spread out. They're metallicized here in this paint job. And I think they look really cool. So he's one I do like to see on the table kind of bit. Now, I also had this toy as a kid. His name is Fisto. And he has a giant fist. And he will fist you hard. Whenever the heroes engage in Wilds, you may reroll up to 3 dice. And he was a friend of He-Man. And he was a really cool little character. And I always liked it when he showed up in the series. You can see his big fist right there. His oversized fist. And he was a strong warrior for sure. And last but not least, we have Hero 2. Hero, get it? Hero? So, start of your turn, you can choose 2 body, 1 mind, or 2 initiative. It can be pretty cool. And then you will get him right here. Kind of a generic, more generic looking miniature. Not one of my favorite ones, but a good character to have nonetheless. And very flexible. So what do we think about the stretch goals? There's no missions included, and I think this game needs missions. It needs missions. But I guess missions can be released online. You can print those out. It's not very hard. So getting a box full of characters and a few little allies, you can add these in pretty quickly, is very much warranted. Now, a lot of these guys here, there's a few of these I remember from the Filmation cartoons. Some of these might be more ancillary characters. Some of these are really cool. Like Scareglow was really cool. Faker was a favorite. Mechanic. Some of these like Queen Grayskull, I didn't know her as much. Mantana, I did know. King Grayskull, I didn't know as much growing up. But some really different ones in here from the universe. You can add these in to any mission, have these in. It just gives you a lot more flexibility. Without a lot of missions, I need flexibility because this will shake things up and change your strategies when playing. This is something I would probably tell you if you like these characters, seek this out. Doesn't add a whole lot in the fact of missions or new factions, etc., but does give you a lot of characters and a couple allies. Growing up, I really liked Stinkor. I thought he was just a funny little character. And as a kid, you bought him, he actually stunk. The action figure you could get. Very cool set. What I double recommend. This is one you should seek out if it's not too expensive. The stretch goals was a huge hit for us.